Hi everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by WeUni in partnership with Acsenda School of Management. My name is Ilaria, nice to meet you all, and I'll be your host for today's event on behalf of WeUni. I see here that the first people are already starting to join in. We're going to wait a few minutes before starting to allow everyone to connect. In the meantime, feel free to say hi on our chat here on Zoom. And first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us and thank our panelists for being here with us today. And as you can see, I'm not alone. I want to introduce you all to Brent, Vice President, Student Recruitment and Marketing at Acsenda School of Management. Arunim Garg, Lecturer of the BBA Management Information System Program at Acsenda School of Management. Welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here today. Today we are going to explore the fundamentals of artificial intelligence and machine learning, discover real-world application, and experience a live AI model training activity. The session also presents the BBA Management Information System program designed to combine business knowledge with advanced technology skills. You'll also have the possibility to interact with our speakers and ask them questions. And talking about that, I'd like to remind you that after the presentation, we will have a Q&A session where you'll be able to ask direct questions to the panelists. So don't be shy and just type all of your questions in the Q&A section here on Zoom, and we'll go through them at the end of the webinar. Also, for those of you interested in receiving a certificate of attendance by WeUni for this free masterclass, stay tuned because we will post the link to get the certificate at the end of the session. And I think that we are able to start now. Welcome to those who just join us. I leave the floor to our panelists for the presentation. Enjoy this webinar and see you later.
Thanks, Ilaria. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. As she mentioned, my name is Brent Schmoker, and I look after our outreach efforts to prospective students, especially international students who would like to study at Acsenda School of Management. I'm going to give you a brief introduction to our institution and some of our programs, and then Arunam will proceed with some really interesting and fascinating information about emerging technologies and business. So Acsenda School of Management, we're located on the west coast of North America in Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada. I wanted to start by just talking about Canada as a place to study for international students. It's known as one of the best places to go abroad to explore degrees and work on your professional trajectory. It's extremely safe, it's extremely welcoming. It's one of the most multicultural and diverse places in all of the world, especially Vancouver. Vancouver is the third largest metro area in Canada, and it's a beautiful combination of nature and breathtaking, stunning outdoor experiences with a very modern urban economy. So I really love that mixture that you find in Vancouver. Canada has almost 1 million international students currently studying at different number of program levels, such as diplomas, bachelor's degrees, and master's degrees. And those students are drawn to Canada because the quality of education is very high. There's chances to get work experience in Canada during your program and also upon graduation. And then either whether you pursue future career activities in Canada or back home in your home country, you leave with a really incredible combination of academic and professional preparation. And Acsenda is part of that. So we have more than 1,000 international students studying in our programs. And we're a leading center for management, business, and hospitality education for more than 20 years. Amongst our international students, we have students from more than 40 different countries. So it's a diverse student population, You'll hear a lot of different perspectives from your fellow students and also our professors and faculty in the classroom. We have two types of bachelor's degrees. So it's an undergraduate focused institution. We have a Bachelor of Business Administration with 8 concentration areas, and then we have a Bachelor of Hospitality Management. Across our whole institution, we have a 96% satisfaction rate amongst our students. 93% of our students find a job within 3 months of graduation, and our average class size is about 25 students. So it's a very small and focused classroom experience that you get. And two of our taglines that you're going to see throughout the presentation and hear about are international thinking, individual focus, talking about the way that we're an international institution designed to provide individual attention and support to each student. And then the other one you see up in the right-hand corner of this slide is connecting people and professions. And when Arunam begins talking about his material, you'll see about how everything we do is designed to help students be prepared to find a job upon graduation. Arunam, could you hop forward 2 slides now, please? Thank you. One more. Excellent. So within our Bachelor of Business Administration, which we sometimes call the BBA, we have 8 different concentration options for students to choose from that are kind of run the gambit. They cover every area of business, management, leadership in a number of different specializations. The one in particular that we're going to hear more about today is one of our most popular and fastest growing programs, which is the Management Information Systems concentration. Go to the next slide. Just a little bit about our BHM, though, for anyone, if you have any friends or if you're interested in this, we also do have a bachelor's degree that's specifically focused on one of the biggest sectors of the Vancouver economy, which is tourism and hospitality. It does have a 6-month paid internship, and it's designed for students to pursue management level positions in hotels, fine dining, tourism, travel, all those exciting things that are happening in Vancouver because it's such a beautiful place for people to visit from around the world. Just a quick snapshot of what it's like to apply for study at Acsenda. So our bachelor's degrees typically are a 4-year program. So you would basically apply for a student visa, move to Canada, move to Vancouver, and then spend 3 to 4 years studying with us. We do have 4 intakes per year. So you could apply and join us in January, April, July, or October. And generally what we're looking for when you do apply is a copy of your passport, your academic transcripts from high school, and a diploma from your high school showing that you finished it. There's a short statement of purpose that you would provide, and then you do need to demonstrate English proficiency. My next 2 slides talk a little bit about English proficiency. So most students try to up qualify for what we call direct entry, which would mean you would start in our English 101 class. And there are a number of different English tests that you can provide to qualify for direct entry. One of the most popular one is the IELTS academic test, and we're looking for an overall score of 6.5 on the IELTS with none of the bands or sections lower than 6. But you could also take the TOEFL or the Duolingo or the Pearson test of English. There's a number of choices, and we only need one. And if your English is a little bit lower than 6.5 IELTS or equivalent, we do have English bridging options that our admissions and recruitment team could help talk to you about as well. So there's a number of options. For those of you that might be from one of the countries shown on this slide, we do recognize that students have studied in English growing up for these countries where English is a principal language. So if you're from any of these countries and can show that you did high school in English already, then you don't need an IELTS or a TOEFL or a Pearson test. You could just provide us our transcripts and you qualify for direct entry on English. And then just a quick snapshot of kind of the process of coming to study at Acsenda. Feel free to take a screenshot of this if you would like, but I'll just quickly run through it. So you would apply. If accepted to the school, you would receive a letter of offer. On your letter of offer, there's instructions about paying a tuition deposit. Once you've paid a tuition deposit, you receive a document called the Letter of Acceptance, LOA. And then you would use that and some additional instructions to receive another document, which you'll need to provide for your study permit, your visa application. That's the provincial attestation letter. Now up to step 5, you would take your LOA and your PAL and use those to apply for a study permit with the Canadian government, which is IRCC Canada. The decision time on getting your visa approval can take maybe 6 weeks to up to 3 months. It can be a little bit of a lengthy process. So while you're waiting, we offer a number of online engagement sessions where you can learn more about Acsenda, start interacting with some of our professional staff, getting to know your incoming fellow students, and you can also register for classes. Step 7 would be travel to Vancouver, attending orientation, and then 3 days later, we have our first day of class, and you can begin studying in your bachelor's degree. So that's kind of a snapshot of the journey from step 1 to step 8. Just a little bit more about work and study and career outcomes. So across our bachelor's programs, 82% of our students actually have their job offer in hand before graduation. And then, as I mentioned previously, 93% of our students have secured a career outcome 3 months after graduation. And all of our programs do qualify for the postgraduate work permit in Canada, PGWP, which can qualify you for up to 3 years of full-time work experience after you complete the degree. So that's another really compelling and exciting reason to study in Canada compared to places like the United States and the UK. It's one of the best places for post-study work opportunities. And then while you're studying at Acsenda, you can work off campus for up to 24 hours per week. And you'll find that the minimum wage in Canada is about 18 Canadian dollars per hour. So it is pretty well paid work, regardless of what you end up doing. And while you're on academic break, which is usually 3 months out of every 12 months, where you're kind of taking a break from your studies, you're able to work full time as well. So those are some attractive things that can help you with financial planning in paying for your degree. We do have a number of supports on campus for international students. So we have a career services office. We have 2 immigration advisors on staff that can help you plan and stay compliant with the terms of your visa and also plan what you're going to do upon graduation. We have a housing support coordinator that will help you find a safe and comfortable place to live in the Vancouver area while you're studying. And then we have a department called the Learning Commons that helps provide all the types of academic support you might need, whether that be writing, math, English support, and a number of workshops, again, to help you prepare to finish your studies. And without further ado, I'll be back at the end to provide my contact information and some information about application deadlines. So I'll talk to you again at the end. But without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce my colleague, who is a lead instructor in the BBA Management Information Systems concentration. That's Mr. Arunam Garg, and he'll start by giving you some information about his career and then teaching you some of these exciting tools that are emerging in the area. Over to you, Arunam.
Awesome. Thank you, Brent. All right. So the way that I have kind of structured this part of the demo is I'll introduce a little bit about myself. This will come in later when we talk about the future career options for MIS graduates. I will also like to do a poll right after the slide to kind of understand where everyone is from, and then we'll do a little Microsoft Excel activity within that activity. And then, and then I'll talk about what MIS is. MIS might be a little different, or you might have not heard about it before, but we will then kind of get into a little bit about what it is and what type of career paths there are and what Acsenda, the college that we're from, what Acsenda does for MIS, what type of courses we have, and then also at the end a little bit about a class, like how a typical class runs in Acsenda for MIS, and then we'll do a fun little activity as well within that class. So, just to introduce myself, my name is Arunam. I've worked at different in the industry, different companies doing different data related jobs. I was a machine learning developer at a public affairs company. I was a data analyst at a financial company. I was a data engineer at an insurance company. And then I did a bunch of research in data science and healthcare. So when I started teaching, I already had some experience in different types of data. And if you want to do something in data, for example, become a data analyst or a data scientist, it's always good to have that experience of using and analyzing different sorts of data so that you can kind of have a very broad view of how data analysis works. Before I started teaching, and before I did all of these different jobs, I had a master's degree in computer science with a specialization in AI. I did a lot of research again at the intersection of AI and healthcare, and I did that from Lakehead University on the east side of Canada. We are definitely on the west side, which maybe is the better side. We don't know. And then, of course, my bachelor's degree was in IT as well. My hobbies, I love to kayak and bike around in the city. Vancouver is really nice in terms of the weather and the things that you can do outside. So I love just being outside after work, and sometimes I go on hikes with the students and stuff as well. So it's really fun. All right. Enough about me. I want to know a little bit about you guys. So, maybe I see there's 145 participants. So, even though I would love to learn all of your names, but I feel like that's humanly impossible. But I would love to see where you're from. So I think we're gonna do a little Zoom. Um, yeah, there you go. We have this poll that is going up, and if you could just tell us where you're from, and then I'm going to start this pie chart over on my end. And once we have the results, let's see how many people are from different continents. I should say continent here, not country. And then we'll probably run this for maybe a minute, and then we'll see the results. There you go. All right. So we have 13 students from Africa. We have 48 potential students and people from Asia, 11 from Europe. We have no one from Australia. That's fair. North America, we have 3. South America, 16. I put in Antarctica just because I wanted to be inclusive. I know there are no permanent residents in Antarctica, but I'm sure like there's people there who are researching. All right. So yeah, as we can see, this pie chart kind of tells us right away what the population looks like for this seminar. And that's the fun part about MIS as well, where we are using technology, information systems rather, to kind of get raw data. Like, we have so many people here. I don't know if and everyone was able to kind of we have 91 people who actually said where they're from. But using that data that we were not using really, and using an MIS tool like Microsoft Excel to kind of visualize how many people are from different places, kind of gives us a immediate idea of how we can use this data for our other purposes, right? If we wanted to do some marketing campaign using this, kind of getting to know more about Asia or more about Africa, we can use this data right away. And we can see that MIS, Management Information Systems, kind of help us do that pretty much right away. So that's a little fun activity that I wanted to do to just showcase how powerful MIS tools can be. And when I say MIS, I mean Management Information System, and that kind of stays at the intersection of business and technology. Right. At the end of the day, our degree is a BBA degree, which, as mentioned earlier, it's a bachelor's in business administration. But if you choose to specialize in MIS, which is Management Information System, you're kind of sticking to both business and technology. So MIS degrees provide a strong foundation in both business and technology, opening a wide range of career opportunities. When you start thinking and working more with technology in this, especially in this age of AI and tech, you're opening up a little bit more for your horizon of different career opportunities. The next 3 or 4 slides, I want to kind of showcase what MIS looks like from our perspective, from our college. We have a few different courses that kind of go into different levels of technology. The first one is MIS 331, which is the Technology Enabled Business Process Management. And I want to showcase what students do in this course. And the video that I'm going to show you, a very short video, is a video that was created by some students who were working together as a group for the final project. So let's have a look. All right. Yeah, as you could see here, these students here in a group created a app for just counting their calories, counting their weight, and it was a basically a health app that was created cross-platform using different software engineering tools like programming languages and Android development kit as well. So that's MIS 331. We also have MIS 402, which is Advanced MIS for e-business. And that's where students create a Shopify web store to create, their own business online and start selling online. I had one of my students, one of the times I taught this course, who already had an idea about selling his stickers online, but he never really understood the online space. And after this course, he actually did create his own online store, online web store, and he started selling his stickers. And he comes, every now and then to me, and tells me about how well his business is doing. So that's e-commerce. We also have a cybersecurity course, which is called Information Systems Security Management. And one of the things that we do, and I'll talk about it in just a second, is also we work for real companies in a practicum project. And that's the project that students have to do at the end of their degree. And one of the things that we have done before is create a full comprehensive cybersecurity audit for a company in Toronto. And for them, we created this tool that was able to, this dashboard that was able to kind of check how many critical or medium or low priority problems they were having on their cybersecurity, um, you know, um, cybersecurity sort of things for their company. So this is one of those courses where we talk about some very topical, very industry specific tools that the industry is using to kind of audit their cybersecurity side of things. And this is the course that I was talking about, the MIS Practicum, MIS 491. And this is the course you have to take at the end. And this is one of the dashboards that students created that is now live at on the company's website. And this one is also in Toronto, where they wanted us to work on a project. And this is a company who's trying to find grants, so trying to find funding for clients who want to be funded by the government. And this dashboard is something that we created for them in a term of 3 months, and students right before they graduated kind of got that hands-on experience with working for a real company. And that's another really, really good part about MIS is, and this is also a course that I teach. Well, it's not really a course, it's a project. But I managed this project, and that's a really good thing as well, because before you graduate, you get some experience in the field for any technology project. So going from all the different courses that we teach in MIS to what are some things that you can do in MIS once you graduate? And this is coming from my own experience. This is coming from students who have already graduated from MIS, and what type of jobs do they do? And again, just as a reminder, MIS again is at the intersection of business and technology. So not only just business jobs or job titles related in business, but you also kind of now start mixing technology as well. And that's where IT project manager comes in, for example. You are still a project manager, which is more in the business space, but then you add a little bit of technology in your learning, and eventually you are able to then become an IT project manager as well, right? There's business analyst. In Canada, we call a business analyst who is able to help a business with their technology and analyzing processes. I think in Europe, business analysts more so are doing change management, but we don't do that. That's called BI analyst. We also have data analysts, system analysts, database administrators. If you know SQL or SQL, then you can go into a little bit more into database admin. IT analyst, web developer, cloud architect, all of these jobs become viable once you do this degree in MIS specialization. I wanted to kind of do a deeper dive into some of these, and of course, some of these popular ones as well, where as a data analyst, you can be a data analyst in companies like LinkedIn, Twitter, different financial institutions because they have so much financial data to be analyzed. I worked as a data analyst at a financial institution myself. Some of the skills that you might need for becoming a data analyst is learning SQL, learning how to do data visualization, The pie chart that we created earlier, that's just a very small glimpse of what data visualization looks like, and what statistical analysis looks like. Very small glimpse of that, but that's what a data analyst does. They take data in the rawest form, data that doesn't make sense yet, and then you make sense of it.
It's 9:30.
We also have data. Sorry, that was just my clock telling me what the time is. Um, yeah, and then we have data scientists. So going a little bit further with data analysis, but now using machine learning and AI, which we will talk about in a bit, and using those skills to predict, to provide insights. And again, you need some skills like SQL, Python, statistical analysis, again, data visualization. And these are some of the things that you will learn during your time in MIS at Acsenda. Companies that data scientists work at, Facebook, Netflix, Uber, with different pay ranges in states and Canada. And those are some of the things that you can kind of try to strive for when you do an MIS degree, right? Some things that are both technology and business. And now, kind of turning our gears a little bit and talking about MIS as a class. So, I wanted to kind of demo how we would do a typical class in MIS. I teach 4 courses, and I have different kind of ways to teach all those different 4 courses. But this, next 15-ish minutes, I'll kind of show you how, a class looks like for MIS. All right. And what I want to start with is talking about this approach that I came up with, that I like to use for all my classes, which is the FTS approach. And this FTS approach, we are trying to kind of tackle the 3 things, the F, the T, and the S, within one class of 2.5 hours, right? So we have 2.5 hours. We will focus 1 hour on fundamentals. That's where we are learning the fundamentals for that week. So, for example, today we're going to learn a little bit about generative AI. So, in a typical class of 2.5 hours, I would focus 1 hour on just learning the fundamentals. That's where I talk, that's where you discuss, that's where you might be coming to the front of the class and maybe writing something on the blackboard, on the whiteboard, and kind of we're just having a discussion there. Then after a quick break, we then do the T and the S. All right. And that's learning emerging technologies and learning tangible skills. This is when we actually see what type of technologies exist out there for those fundamentals. So, for example, if we're learning about generative AI, then we see what type of chatbots and LLMs exist out there. And not only that we learn about those emerging technologies, we then actually learn those skills as well, right? Then we spend an hour just doing a lab, just doing an activity or a lab where we're learning those tangible technologies, learning those tangible skills. And that's when we go to that technology, we actually install it in our computers or already installed it in our computers, and then we actually learn how to use it. And in the way that we have been doing this in our classes is that you learn enough that you can actually put it on your resumes and as one of your skills, and then it's really up to you to hone those skills in your free time with different projects. So you usually do a project in class, and then you might want to do different projects yourself, and that's kind of how you learn a new technology. So that's the FTS approach that we take in MIS in all our classes. And just to kind of use that FTS approach even today, for the next little bit, to talk about generative AI. All right, so this is the F part of this demo, where we talk about what generative AI is. So yeah, changing the gears a little bit again. Now we're in the teaching mode, and I'm talking about this concept. If this was a typical class, I would have a dialogue with the students here. I potentially could as well right now. I'll try to look at the chat here as well. How many people know what generative AI is, and what generative AI does? I'll just quickly look at the chat here. Yeah, what does I see Simona saying that she knows what generative AI is. Um, do you guys want to type in kind of trying to guess what it is? What does it do? Nice. You know because you're a computer science student. That's awesome. Yeah, that was share. Yeah, so generative AI is a type of AI. It's a branch in AI that focuses on creating new content or data. Okay. So it's a little bit different than other types of artificial intelligence, right? You have machine learning, you have deep learning, you have computer vision. All of those are different types of artificial intelligence, whereas generative AI is a type of artificial intelligence that just focuses on creating new content. So, unlike other models that are able to kind of differentiate or predict different things, so for example, a image recognition model, a camera at a bank would be able to kind of do some facial recognition and see who is in the bank at what time. So that could be a computer vision artificial intelligence model. There might be, a prediction model. So, what is the weather like tomorrow? Or is this volcano going to erupt in the next 2 years? So, those types of models do some discriminatory kind of, they're able to distinctively guess, a person's face, or a predictive model is distinctively able to predict in the next 2 years if there's going to be a volcano erupting or not. But when we talk about generative AI, we talk about a model that is able to generate new things. I see there's some more answers here. Andrew saying that has large database to be used to mix and match to create something new. That's a very good synthesis of what generative AI does. It's trained on a large database. So, for example, ChatGPT is a generative AI model, and it's trained on all of internet, all of the publicly available content on the internet, and it's able to train itself on it. The training process is quite complex. At the very base of the training, it's all mathematics, it's all linear algebra. And once it's able to kind of learn different things from the data set, it's able to then predict, it's able to then kind of generate new things. um, and then Share Dill is saying GPT exactly. GPT is a model that OpenAI uses, and a lot of different companies use GPT models to train on a large data set, and then they're able to then generate, um, text. And it's not only text, and that's what my next bullet point talks about. It's not only text that generative AI or Gen AI is able to generate. These days, it's images, videos, audios. These days, you can listen to a Beatles song in, like lyrics of a Beatles song, but Taylor Swift is singing them. So that's like how new generative AI models are able to kind of, mess around with those types of things, and they're able to generate totally new content. Or videos. There's really, really, really amazing models out there that are able to generate a video. You just tell it what you want to generate, and it's going to generate a whole, like, 2 or 3 minute long video or a movie, just by some text that you have given it. That text is usually called a prompt, and you given a specific type of prompt, you are able to generate a whole video. And also images, right? You're able to kind of go to ChatGPT or one of these models. You tell it that, hey, I want to look at a zebra playing soccer uh, in the space on the moon, right? You can say something very, very obscure, and you're still, the chat model is able to still create that image for you. And that's what we're going to try to do today. All right. So just stick around, and that's what the FTS, the TS part of it is going to be today. I see a couple more chat Um, So Simona is saying, I'd like to add that it doesn't understand concepts like humans do. It just creates a response out of the data that it has made connections about. That's very right. Yeah, we still don't understand what our brain does. Our brain, this 4 pound mass of carbon, we don't really understand what brain does. So but we do understand we have neurons and we have different neurons connected to each other. And the way that, if I touch a hot cup of tea, I know that I shouldn't be touching it because those neurons take that information from my hand to my brain and the brain tells me not to touch that hot cup of tea. So we do understand how neurons work, and that's what we were able to kind of, simulate in a neural network, like a artificial intelligence model. But we still don't really understand how our brain works, and that's why we don't, the AI is not really able to think like humans, but it is able to train itself, and that's how it just makes those connections, as you said, and it's able to then give some answers. So the last bit, and we have already talked about it because we are having a dialogue here with the students. Generative AI is pre-trained. It's trained on large, very large data sets. All right. So now so we looked at a little bit about what generative AI is, and now let's kind of look into what different technologies exist out there to actually use generative AI. All right. So I was assuming that everyone would know here everyone would know what ChatGPT is. So instead of using ChatGPT today, I thought that we would use a different model that is called Microsoft Designer. All right. And you can try this at home as well. And as you're doing this, or you can kind of see what I'm doing. But Microsoft Designer is basically a designer software that is created by Microsoft. And I'm just going to quickly sign in here. Um, and using Microsoft Designer, we can then use different prompts to create different images. Okay. So what I'm going to try to do here is create an image, and I have to basically describe what my image looks like. Okay, so I have a couple of examples, and then I'm gonna try to see if one of you can give me an example on what to create. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to use a prompt, and I'm going to create a simple children's painting of a sunset with two mountains and a river in between, and we're gonna make it crayon drawing style. Okay, so a simple, I have it written down here as well so that I don't have to change my screens. Okay, so a simple children's painting of a sunset with two mountains and a river in between, crayon drawing style. It doesn't matter if I have some typos here because AI is smart enough to understand this. Um, Let me zoom in a little bit. All right, let's see what it comes up with. It's doing its work right now. It's trying to understand basically what my English means. Because computers, they don't understand English the way we do. They understand zeros and ones. So first thing they do is they try to understand what my English words mean, and then they go into creating this image that we were able to just see right here, right? This is pretty amazing. I mean, just a simple, prompt that I gave it, and it's able to create an image out of the words that I've said. There's no one behind the screen actually drawing this, right? There's a model that is able to just create an image, create a painting out of the words that I've told it. So that's pretty awesome. Next thing I want to do is, do you guys know who Van Gogh was? A famous painter. Van Gogh, super famous. One of his very popular paintings was A Starry Night, right? I want to see if this AI model is able to create a image of a morning sky. We already know that Van Gogh created something in using Starry Night, but let's see if this model is able to create a Van Gogh, um, sorry, it's GOX style painting about a morning or an afternoon sky. All right, let's see what this does. It's doing more thinking. There you go. So there's a sun, right? And this is very Van Gogh-like. I can go back here. So this is Van Gogh's real painting that he created. And this right here, you know, is a similar type of sky, and this is very Van Gogh-esque. And it's really nice. And it was able to create that within a few seconds. And again, so that's what generative AI is, right? You give it a prompt and then it's able to create something out of nothing. And again, that could be text, images, videos, or audio. From the audience, I would like one prompt. I see there is sunflower. Yeah, so that's Van Gogh. A cat wearing a crown painted in watercolor style. I love it. Okay, so a cat wearing a crown painted in watercolor style. I love it. So let's just try to do that. A cat wearing, whoops, cat wearing a crown painted in watercolor style. Do we want to add any more details about this cat? Maybe sitting on top of, yeah, sitting on a throne. Oh, share. I know that you do. Okay, you know what? Let's do sitting on top of a crow. I love that. I know that we're taking away from Cher's imagination here, but let's see. A black cat sitting on a white throne. Yeah, that would be good as well. Okay, let's see if it's able to make sense of what we were saying. A cat wearing a crown sitting on top of a crow. All right. Oh, there we go. So it already kind of gave it a gown or a like I can't remember what's called. Um, yeah, this is really nice. It's very high definition as well, right? Yeah. Simona, okay, there is one more from Simona. Let me do this one as well because I really like how descriptive it is. And then we'll move on. So this one by Simona, it says create an animated image of a fluffy creature that has big ears, wide eyes, and big paws, with a perky nose and a wide smile showing its teeth. Okay. For a human, you might read that and you might start thinking, okay, it could be a cat. But let's see what this image model interprets this as, and then we'll move on. Yeah, yeah, that makes sense, right? It's a fluffy creature with big ears, with wide eyes. Yeah, this is, and you just take this type of model and you take your imagination, and then there is no limits to it, right? You can keep going until you satisfy your inner thirst of imagination and trying to create new things. And that's the beauty with today's AI, where anyone can be an artist, right? You just need to have words and an imagination, and then you can create whatever you want to create. But that also has a other side of things, right? I mean, if I was an artist and if I can see an AI model do what I do really quickly, then I'd be a little scared. I'd be a little scared that the skills and the art that I can create and the skills that I have now are is there with an AI model, and an AI model can right away create it. It would take me maybe a few hours to create like an image of a Van Gogh style painting. And just the fact that it is able to even understand what Van Gogh did, that is kind of scary as well. And that's kind of what we will now talk about for the next 2 minutes, about why there is some ethical problems with having AI able to create Van Gogh style paintings. Because if we think about it, it's able to create Van Gogh style paintings because it was trained on all the different paintings that Van Gogh has created. So, should we be allowing AI models to be trained on art and paintings and songs and videos that real people have created themselves, putting in their time and efforts? And AI just trains on that and then is able to recreate those images, videos, audio clips, just right away. So there is, problems of copyright. So who owns AI art, right? That's a question that is very, very interesting. Who owns the AI art? Who owns this image that I just created? Do I own it? Does Microsoft own it? Or does Van Gogh own it? Because technically, Van Gogh's paintings were used to train this model, right? Um, Replacement versus collaboration. Do we replace the artists of today, or do we collab, or can they collaborate with AI? So that's a very big ethical question as well. Like we don't really know the answer to this yet. Or I mean, there are different answers, but who's to say, right? And also the deep fakes. Like today, you can see, Donald Trump or, some big celebrity or politician, and you can fake their face onto a different body and ask them to do something that is maybe not appropriate. And that is very easy to do these days, deep fakes, right? So another very big ethical issue and misinformation risks come out of it. So, as we learn about AI, we also should learn about the ethics behind AI, and we should kind of make sure that there is a body that is trying to come up with regulations so that we can curb the use of AI if it starts to mix with the original work that artists have to do. All right. And that's about it for me for this demo. And I'll leave you guys with this one last question. Should AI art be allowed to enter real art competitions? And I'll leave you guys with this question based on what we have talked about. And then you can kind of think about it and try to really then understand what AI is doing in the world of art. All right. And with that, I'll give it back to Brent. Brent.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Arun. I'm super interesting. Things to ponder. Everyone, I'm just going to wrap up with 3 quick slides about next steps in case you'd like to apply with Acsenda School of Management, whether it be for the MIS concentration of BBA or any of the other bachelor's degree programs we mentioned earlier today. And then I see we have a number of questions, and I think it's a combination of questions perhaps for me about the application process, and especially for Arunam about the content covered. So we'll probably just go through them one by one and answer them here at the end. So if you'd like to apply to join Acsenda for one of our upcoming intakes, there's some key dates to consider here. We have an April intake, the spring intake, which has first day of class on Tuesday, April 7th. And if you'd like to apply, the last day to apply is in early March, and that'll give you plenty of time to pay your deposit and go through the immigration steps. And I would invite you to send an email to that email address at the bottom, which is recruitment@acsenda.com, to tell us just a little bit about yourself. What program piques your interest? What are you hoping to accomplish professionally in the coming years? Maybe how did you hear about Acsenda? And then myself and our team of admissions and recruitment staff will follow up with you. If April is coming up a little bit too soon, we do have another intake following that. Go to the next slide, Aruna. Thank you. There's also a July intake with classes starting on July 6th, and the deadlines and steps are going to be really similar. And if spring and summer are both going to be too early for you, there's also a fall intake as well. and it's not too early to start planning for that. In fact, I would say now's a great time to start collecting your materials and researching schools in Canada that you're interested in. So again, please reach out to us at recruitment@acsenda.com. And one final slide, I would invite you to follow us on all of the different social media channels. And there you have our phone number and a general inbox to ask questions about Acsenda. But like I said, if you're interested in any of our programs or applying for any of our programs, please contact us at recruitment@acsenda.com. And I think without further ado, we'll dive into the questions.
Hello again, everyone. And first of all, I want to thank our panelists for the accurate and very interesting presentation. I see here we already have lots of questions from the participants, and we will answer live to some of them. And for any other information, of course, you can ask directly to Acsenda email, recruitment@acsenda.com, all of your questions, doubts, and curiosities. So let's start with the first one. How easy is to stay in Canada after graduation? Can you get a job or you need a master's?
Great question. All of our bachelor's programs do qualify or eligible for students to apply for PGWP, which is the postgraduate work permit. And historically, more than 99% of our alumni who have applied for PGWP have been approved for it. So the chances are really good of qualifying for that. And as I mentioned earlier, that's up to 3 years of full-time work experience in Canada after graduation. And then what happens after that really depends on the relationship you've developed with your employer and your own individual immigration situation. But I will say the chances of qualifying for PGWP following our bachelor's programs is really high.
And how hard is to get admitted? Do you offer guidance on which program suits best?
Yeah, definitely. I didn't mention that, but if you're unsure which concentration or which program is going to be the best fit for you and your future goals, we do have a general business management option, and you're also able to just start as an undecided student. So you'll begin your program and complete the general coursework in the first 6 to 12 months, and that won't delay you in pursuing and finishing any of the 9 different programs. So you can always start as undecided or general business. The best way to learn more about the application process and which program might be best would be to drop an email there to recruitment@acsenda.com or go to our website and submit a request for information. It's a really simple process there too.
And also, how many students per class? Do you mainly work on cases or projects?
I'll say institution-wide, our average class size is about 25 students for one instructor. Arunam, I'm not sure if you'd like to share any more about how it works in your classroom, number of students, and if you guys work on cases.
Yeah, like I would say about 20 average, 20 to 25 average, maybe around MIS classes. And in terms of projects or cases, yeah, we do final projects, class projects. Some of our classes are only project classes. So basically, you would start working on a project in week 1 and until week 12. You're going to be either working on that same project or different projects throughout. We also have cases, but more hands-on because MIS kind of requires you to do hands-on activities. So it's a little bit more hands-on than case studies.
And I see that there are a lot of questions related to master programs. I know that this webinar is specifically focused on bachelor's programs, but if you don't mind, Brent, we could also give a brief overview of the programs, of the master programs.
Yeah, at this time, Acsenda only has bachelor's programs. We are pursuing authorization to eventually deliver a master's degree, but for the time being, we do not offer master's degrees. So students are invited to apply for our bachelor's degrees. And I saw a question there. If you already have a bachelor's degree from your home country, it's not at all uncommon to apply for a second bachelor's degree internationally and in Canada. And we do automatically look at your coursework from the first bachelor's degree back home to try to award transfer credit so that
It's
you
10
don't have to
o'clock.
repeat any learning. So that can be a good option as well while we're waiting for the authorization of a master's degree at Acsenda.
Which type of MIS specifically used on all over the world? Please show some examples.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and it requires. So yeah, I mean, the MIS. There's all kinds of MIS like Power BI, um, um, Tableau, Python. All these types of information systems are used all over the world for different types of work. We teach all of these. We actually you will learn all of these different tools when you do the MIS degree, the MIS concentration for the BBA degree. And yeah, so like in my first bit of my demo, I was talking about different types of jobs you can do. You would need to learn those things to do those jobs like data analysis, data science, and you will learn those technologies during classes.
Perfect. And I'll also see some question about the scholarship. So maybe if you can give us a little overview again of the scholarship. I see here, is it a full scholarship or do I still need to pay for part of the tuition fee?
Yeah. So throughout North America, not just in Canada, but also in the United States, it's pretty uncommon to receive a full scholarship, especially at the bachelor's level. Someday, if you apply for PhD programs, then it's a lot more common to be fully funded, especially if you're in engineering, computer science, those STEM programs, but that's usually at the PhD level. Our bachelor's program is very affordably priced, and it does have the opportunity for you to automatically be considered for grants and scholarships. They cover around 15 to 20% of the cost, but you will need significant funding for yourself to pay for the remaining portion of the tuition and also for living expenses. And living expenses in Canada and in Vancouver are estimated around $20,000 per year. Um, to go into specifics about our tuition and the grants, I think the best thing to do would be get in touch with our recruitment team and they can explain to you exactly how it works. But you are automatically considered for every scholarship and grant available at the time of admission.